In a world designed to keep you trapped, where rules are chains and dreams are silenced, you stood apart. They believed the system was unbreakable, a fortress no one could outsmart. But inside you, a fierce fire raged, untamed and relentless. This is the story of how you tore down every wall, broke every limit, and became the very force the system fears. Get ready to ignite your spirit and rewrite your destiny. Please like, comment, and subscribe to Twist Mind for more powerful awakenings. Haha! Oh, from the very first breath you took in this world, they thought they had you trapped. Every move, every thought, every blink of your eye already written in their cold little script. Imagine invisible walls pressing on you, suffocating, tight, walls you never asked for, but were shoved into anyway. The system was there, waiting with its fake grin and cold, calculating hands, like a puppeteer pulling strings you didn't even see. Sit down, be quiet, don't ask questions, be a shadow of what they decided you should be. Dress like them, think like them, dream only the tiny dreams they allowed. Pathetic, right? And when the first spark of rebellion flickered inside you, they laughed. Yes, that cruel laugh that feels like ice down your spine. You outsmart the system. You're just one person. You'll never win. They threw their mockery like chains, hoping to crush your spirit into obedience. Most people fold under that weight, fall asleep in their half-life, numbed by routine. But you, oh no, you felt the danger deep in your bones, that gnawing feeling that something was rotten beneath the shiny surface. The applause was fake, the praise, plastic. They wrapped their lies in a perfume of success, but you smelled the truth, bitter, raw, real. You saw the chains they called goals, slick traps disguised as hopes. Then, boom, like lightning in a storm, the truth hit you. You're not broken. You're awake, not crazy. You're built from a different fire. The system wasn't made for your kind. It was made to trap you. And when they told you you couldn't beat it, they weren't warning you. They were begging you to quit. Afraid, terrified, shaking at the idea that someone like you could slip free from their cage. But you weren't just awake. You were ready. Ready to question everything. Ready to think in ways that made them uncomfortable. Ready to tear down the lies they fed you as facts. You didn't run, you smiled. That Joker smile that doesn't need words. The smile that screams, I see through your game. And then you became more than a rebel. You became the system's nightmare. A mind too sharp, a spirit too wild, a fire too bright to be contained. You spoke truths while their lies choked on your voice. You moved fast, sharper than their dull routines, freer than their cages. They panicked, confused, silent, because they never saw you coming. You weren't just playing their game anymore. You were rewriting the rules with your own blueprint. You took their lessons, not to stay inside their box, but to shatter the ceiling they called unbreakable. Now, you're not part of the machine. You're the glitch they can't fix, the riddle they can't solve, the ghost haunting their code. Your voice rises, your steps echo, your mind sharpens, and finally they see it. You didn't outsmart the system for their applause. You did it for your freedom, because silence suffocated you, because you had to, because some souls aren't made to fit molds, they're made to smash them into dust. Now you stand not just out of the system, but towering above it, watching it tremble beneath your feet. They said you couldn't outsmart it. But you became everything it feared. Aha. Oh, from the very first breath you took in this world, they thought they had you trapped. Every move, every thought, every blink of your eye already written in their cold little script. Imagine invisible walls pressing on you, suffocating tight walls you never asked for, but were shoved into anyway. The system was there, waiting with its fake grin and cold, calculating hands, like a puppeteer pulling strings you didn't even see. Sit down, be quiet, don't ask questions, be a shadow of what they decided you should be. Dress like them, think like them, dream only the tiny dreams they allowed. Pathetic, right? And when the first spark of rebellion flickered inside you, they laughed. Yes, that cruel laugh that feels like ice down your spine. You outsmart the system? You're just one person. You'll never win. They threw their mockery like chains, hoping to crush your spirit into obedience. Most people fold under that weight, fall asleep in their half-life, numbed by routine. But you, oh no, you felt the danger deep in your bones. That gnawing feeling that something was rotten beneath the shiny surface. The applause was fake. The praise? Plastic. They wrapped their lies in a perfume of success, but you smelled the truth. Bitter, raw, real. You saw the chains they called goals, slick traps disguised as hopes. Then, boom, like lightning in a storm, the truth hit you. You're not broken, you're awake, not crazy. You're built from a different fire. The system wasn't made for your kind, it was made to trap you. And when they told you you couldn't beat it, they weren't warning you, they were begging you to quit. Afraid, terrified, shaking at the idea that someone like you could slip free from their cage. But you weren't just awake, you were ready. Ready to question everything, ready to think in ways that made them uncomfortable, ready to tear down the lies they fed you as facts. You didn't run, you smiled. That Joker smile that doesn't need words. The smile that screams, I see through your game. And then you became more than a rebel. You became the system's nightmare. A mind too sharp, a spirit too wild, a fire too bright to be contained. You spoke truths while their lies choked on your voice. You moved fast, sharper than their dull routines, freer than their cages. They panicked, confused, silent, because they never saw you coming. You weren't just playing their game anymore. You were rewriting the rules with your own blueprint. You took their lessons, not to stay inside their box, but to shatter the ceiling they called unbreakable. Now, you're not part of the machine. You're the glitch they can't fix, the riddle they can't solve, the ghost haunting their code. Your voice rises, your steps echo, your mind sharpens, and finally they see it. You didn't outsmart the system for their applause, you did it for your freedom, because silence suffocated you, because you had to, because some souls aren't made to fit molds, they're made to smash them into dust. Now you stand not just out of the system, but towering above it, watching it tremble beneath your feet. They said you couldn't outsmart it, but you became everything it feared. Oh, they laughed at you, didn't they? That ugly, arrogant laughter that slithered through the air like venom, sharper than any blade. Not just mocking your failures, but declaring you would fail forever. And damn, it burned deep in your chest, a fire hotter than anything you'd felt before. It wasn't just rejection. They didn't stop there. No, they stared into your eyes like they wanted to shrink your whole existence down to a speck, told you you weren't enough, not smart enough, not worthy enough. They boxed you in with cruel labels, average, slow, weak, useless, and thought that was the end of your story. Ha! They thought that moment would shatter you, kill your spirit, erase your spark. But what they couldn't see was the inferno they lit inside you. That rejection? You swallowed it like a shot of wild poison and turned it into fuel, fiery, raw, dangerous energy that set your soul ablaze. Not sadness, not defeat, rage, The kind of rage that doesn't tear down buildings but builds empires. That rage that transforms your hands into tools of creation, your mind into a sharp machine of vision, your steps into a storm they can't control. They never saw it coming. Every no they threw, it was fuel. Every slammed door, firewood for your blaze. Every mocking finger pointed, a sharpened edge on your focus. Rejection stopped being pain. It became your wild, untamed power. And you harnessed it, quietly, relentlessly. While they wasted time laughing and scrolling, you trained. When they slept, you worked. That rage didn't turn you bitter. It turned you brilliant. You didn't explode in anger. You evolved in silence, deadly and slow, like a predator stalking its prey. And then, bam, there you stood. The same person they dismissed, now walking into rooms like you owned the place. Speaking words dripping with raw truth, moving with the weight and force of gravity itself bowing to your command. And their reaction? Awe, fear, regret, because the very weapon they thought would break you became your greatest strength. It gave you an edge sharper than any sword. It gave you a reason to rise higher than their expectations. Proof that you don't need anyone's approval to be powerful. You only need to want it, badly, madly, desperately. And want it, you did. Like oxygen, like survival, like a silent revenge that screams louder than any insult ever could. Here's the punchline. They thought they broke you, but really you should be thanking them. Yeah, you should thank every doubter, every sneer, every cold shoulder. Without their rejection, you never would have found this version of yourself, this fierce fire, this beautiful madness, this calm, deadly confidence that whispers every day, "You'll regret ever doubting me, so keep walking, keep climbing, keep letting that fire burn like a second heartbeat, because they gave you a fire thinking it would consume you, and you used it to light up your entire legacy." Oh, you slipped into their world like a shadow, quiet, unnoticed, a ghost drifting through rooms where names mattered and faces had power. They saw you as nothing more than a whisper, just another nobody destined to follow their scripted lines. But boy, did they underestimate you. They thought the game was theirs, built with cheat codes they handed out like candy, wrapped in fake smiles and locked doors. Their golden keys passed quietly in hidden halls you were never invited into. They expected you to stay in line, to be grateful for scraps, to wait your turn in silence, to smile politely when they ignored you, to applaud when they walked in late, as if you were nothing but background noise in their grand theater. But that's not your story. No, you don't wait for permission. You steal the spotlight when they aren't looking. You take their silence and twist it into a roaring storm that shakes foundations. You looked at their game and saw the rigged dice, the stacked deck. And instead of crying or folding, you grinned, a dangerous, wicked grin, the Joker grin. The kind of smile that says, "I see your lies, I know your secrets." You stopped begging for a seat at their table. Hell no. You built your own damn table, stronger, louder, unstoppable. You flipped their rules one by one, tossing their network aside and forging your own fiery connections. They said, "Be patient," but you carved shortcuts with obsession and blood. They told you to slow down, but you caught up and then blew past them all. You didn't just play harder, you played smarter, sharper, like a predator circling its prey. Every pattern, every weakness, every lie they tried to pass off as truth, you studied and dismantled it piece by piece. When the moment came, you didn't knock politely. You kicked the door off its hinges. You weren't supposed to win. You weren't supposed to be seen. Yet here you are, your name echoing in rooms you once dreamed of entering. You weren't supposed to be the one others looked to for advice. But now you're rewriting codes, smashing ceilings, setting rules they never imagined breaking. The wildest thing? You didn't just break the game. You became the nightmare they never expected. The glitch in their perfect matrix. The shadow lurking behind their system that makes it tremble in fear. You didn't cheat. You just saw through their smoke and mirrors, saw what they blinded themselves to. And when they asked, why you said, watch me. Now your every move is studied. Your voice carries weight. Your presence sends chills down spines. You flip their entire story, and now they're stuck reading a plot twist they never saw coming. You were the underdog, the ignored, the outsider, and now you're the blueprint. Others look at you like you cracked the code, because you did. You realized the biggest truth of all. The game isn't fair, but it can be beaten. And you're not here to follow their tired instructions. You're here to leave your mark on every rule book they thought was sacred. You prove that you don't need acceptance to dominate. You don't need to be chosen to lead. Sometimes the system doesn't need fixing. It needs to fear. And you became its nightmare. That laugh. Oh, you remember it well, don't you? That ugly, arrogant chuckle that spilled from their lips the moment you dared to speak your dreams aloud. The smirk twisting their faces, the eye roll heavy with disdain, sarcasm dripping like poison disguised as fake concern. You could hear them whisper behind your back, like you were nothing more than a punchline in their private joke. They didn't hand you a silver spoon, no prestigious name, no red carpet rolled out at your feet. No, you came in with dust on your shoes and a wildfire burning deep in your chest. And that moment they laughed, that was your ignition. Your soul whispered quietly, but fiercely, let's go. It didn't crush you, it woke you up. Because beneath that mocking laughter, you heard a challenge, a countdown ticking like a bomb set to blow. Tick, tick, tick. They thought they were poking fun at a lost cause, never realizing they were fueling a monster. That laugh echoed in your failures, your sleepless nights, every time you stared up at the ceiling and wondered if the world would ever make sense. And it didn't break you. It made you unstoppable. You transformed that sound into a weapon, slicing through your doubts, ripping open the silence, smashing through every brick wall they built to keep you down. You didn't crumble. You focused. You didn't get bitter. You got better. No screams. No angry roars. Just a quiet storm brewing inside, growing louder with every moment. While they wasted hours gossiping, mocking, and watching, you stayed in the shadows, sharpening your mind, training your instincts, building your vision like a ticking dynamite ready to explode. You didn't rush the process. You calculated. And when your moment finally arrived, you didn't just prove them wrong. You made them choke on every word you spoke. Suddenly, their laughter died. Suddenly, your name slipped out in whispers, curious, respectful, even fearful. They began to wonder, how did he do it? They watched your rise with wide eyes, copying your moves, pretending like they always believed in you. But you remember. Oh, how you remember every cruel laugh before your silence turned deadly. You didn't seek revenge, you became it. And the best part, you didn't have to shout it out. Your success roared loud enough on its own. That countdown they started with their mockery, it exploded into a legacy they can never outrun. You became their worst nightmare, the one who never quits, the one who stared failure right in the eye and dared it. Try me again. The one who turned their laughter into rocket fuel, blasting beyond limits they never imagined you'd reach. Now, every time someone laughs at a dreamer, they'll see you. Because you are why their laughter no longer lands with the same cruelty. You are the reason they hesitate before doubting someone's fire. You took their jokes and turned them into your legend, their mockery into your masterpiece. And oh, the silence now. How glorious it is to walk past those who once saw you as a joke, knowing they now see you as a force of nature. You didn't just survive their laughter, you buried it. With results, with resilience, with every "you can't," they said, you shouted back with every step forward, and then some. They handed you a map, didn't they? All folded up neat and perfect, filled with rules, routes, and red lines that screamed, "Stay in your lane." They told you, this is the way to win. Play safe, follow the signs, don't stray. But inside you, something stirred, a twitch, a quiet laugh that echoed deep down in your bones. Because that map? Oh, it smelled like fear disguised as guidance, like mediocrity dressed up as success. They wanted you to believe their path, the safe, predictable route to their little boxes, was the only path that mattered. But you saw through the illusion. You knew their roads were traps, distractions meant to cage the wild, punish the brave. Instead of walking that tightrope like the obedient puppet they wanted, you did something wild. You flipped the whole damn map over, blank side up, and you grabbed a pen. You began to draw your own way. Yes, you broke their compass and carved your own through the thorns, over cliffs, through fires that made your heart pound like a battle drum. You wrote your story in scars, built cities from silence, took the long, winding, crazy path that made your soul sing and your spirit roar. They called you lost, reckless, stubborn, but oh, how wrong they were. You were free, free from their limits, free from their fears, free from their idea that safety means greatness. You weren't interested in living a life stamped with their approval. You were obsessed with creating a life that exploded with your own fierce meaning. And that terrified them. Watching you walk paths they couldn't even see, watching you succeed without their blueprints. You became everything their map could never contain. They tried to measure you with rules you never signed, to define you by boundaries you refused to accept. But you flipped every "you must" into a roaring "watch me." You forged your own compass out of chaos, carving your truth deep into the soil beneath their feet. You didn't ask for directions. You became the destination. Now they see you glowing, fueled by fires they thought would burn you out. Standing tall on peaks they never even imagined existed. And guess what? Now they want to follow. Now they crave the route you blazed. But there's no copy, no coordinates, no shortcut. This path is handwritten in pain, inked with resilience, sealed with a madness only you own. You didn't follow the world, you rewrote it. And in the ashes of their burned up rules, you rise with a smile that screams, "I am the map now." You didn't need their road, you became the revolution. They tried to shut you down, didn't they? Smiling wide when you looked, but behind your back, digging deep, digging a grave they hoped would swallow your dreams whole. They whispered your limits like lullabies, hoping you'd drift off to sleep and never wake. Quiet, still, forgotten. That was the fate they wished for you. They thought if they threw enough dirt on your name, on your spirit, on your fire, you'd simply vanish. What a joke. What they didn't realize, couldn't possibly understand, is that you're not a fragile flame flickering out in the dark. No, you're a seed. And the more they buried you, the deeper your roots reached, twisting and winding in the darkness, growing stronger, tougher. Every laugh they spat only tightened your soul's clenched fists. Every doubt hurled was met with a silence that roared louder than their voices. Down there, beneath their dirt and cold, beneath the weight and pressure they thought would crush you, something incredible happened. You built. You didn't break. You became. You learned their shadows, kissed your pain, whispered to the void. This isn't the end. This is where I rise. And rise you did. Slowly, beautifully, with the fury of a volcano erupting through cracked concrete, curses, and crushing expectations. The very people who threw soil on your dreams now squint in the blazing sunlight you became. Oh, how poetic is that? They planted your end, but unknowingly fed your rise. Every insult became water to your roots. Every betrayal turned to fertilizer in your soil. Every time they said, "You're not enough," you dug deeper, drawing power from your own core. And now, look at you, standing tall where they swore you'd never stand, speaking loud with a voice they tried to silence, building empires on lands they claimed weren't yours. You're not just alive, you're unstoppable, blooming in the very nightmares they had for you, glowing radiant in the wake of their judgment. And the best part? You never needed their permission. No handouts, no seats at their tables, no hollow applause. You made your own garden in the ruins. You painted your scars gold and wore them like armor forged in fire. You made the dirt your throne. They tried to bury you, but what they really buried was their own illusion of control. Because now, you are the storm. The ground trembles beneath your steps. You remind the world you were never fragile. You were growing, never broken. You were building. Now you walk with the fury of one who survived every weapon they threw. They see your roots now. They feel your presence. And oh, how it scares them. Because you were never meant to be erased. You were meant to rise so high that their eyes can't meet yours anymore. The dirt they threw? Now it's dust beneath your boots. You turn their burial into your birth. And now the world whispers your name, not with pity, but with awe.